know when you're ready. All right, quarterbacks coach, co-offensive coordinator, Chris Weinke, questions? Chad?
I won't ask you to compare Haynes to anybody else, but does he remind you of anybody in terms of his commitment to this team, this program, to himself getting better?
Yeah, I always shy away a little bit of comparing to certain individual guys, but been very fortunate to coach a lot of good ones. I'll say this, Haynes is as dedicated a quarterback as I've ever worked with, right? High football IQ, grew up with a dad that's a very successful high school coach, and it's been in his blood since he was a little kid. That has continued to carry on. I think you have to fight human nature every day to be able to sustain and create consistency. This guy models that, right? He's as tough as they come. He works as hard as anybody I've been around. It's important to him, and he's always looking to improve. So it's a joy working with him.
Naturally, we know a lot about Haynes. We know a lot about Aaron. How about Graham? Where is he now with the playbook as opposed to where he was last year? And, what are you seeing from him?
Yeah, so that's the old cliche, it's a process. I think it's a perfect example of trusting the process. When you talk about a guy that came in as a true freshman, it's hard, especially in our offense with all the volume that we have, for any young guy to come in and grasp that right away. There's no substitute for experience. And what you see in terms of when he first arrived to today, it's night and day. You look at just his first spring compared to his second spring, and you could see the jump that he made. Again, dedicated, works hard, and a lot of fun to work with. Here's a big guy that's 6'6", athletic, and has a knack for just making plays. So I think that the ability to be able to do that's a lot easier when you have a better understanding of the offense. And he has spent the last year dedicating himself to learning our offense and all the intricacies of it. And you can see the huge strides that Graham Nullles has made in our offense.
Coach Keith's talked about this offseason having the best quarterback room in the country. I think Haynes has even said that, and Buster talked a little bit a couple weeks ago about it. Just do you agree with him, and kind of what makes that room so special this year?
Yeah, so I'll second and third that. And I sit in that room with them every single day. And I know that I've said this before, but they understand that the standard's a standard. And the expectations are very high for that room. We look for that in recruiting. We want to find guys that love the game, that are willing to work, that it's really important to. My room is filled with those guys. They push each other. They're very competitive. They hold each other accountable. I've sat in a lot of different quarterback rooms as a player and as a coach. This is as good as it's ever been.
Are you getting to the point in preseason where you're starting to change the number of reps that each guy gets?
Yeah, so, obviously camp, Coach Key does an outstanding job of putting all of these guys in difficult situations, right? It's the grind of camp. Obviously, I've got to be very conscious of how we operate and the reps that we get with the quarterbacks. And so it's very important you understand that there is a pecking order, right? And there's certain guys that probably need more reps than others. As you continue to embark on the first game and you get closer to it, those reps start to change a little bit. But been very pleased with all of them. And I think it's important we understand that, we've got a quarterback in that room that just got here in June. So he didn't have the ability to be able to go through spring with us, but fits right in, competitive, strong as an ox, and again, another guy that's dedicated himself in learning. And so as we get closer to game time, you start to see those reps change throughout the course of camp.
What are some of the biggest areas you've seen Aaron improve in?
Yeah, so first of all, we all know the type of high school career that he had. He is a natural passer. He's been blessed. And I think for him, it's having an understanding of all the little pieces of our offense. There's so much that goes into playing this position in our offense, and there's so much put on the quarterback. Knowing and understanding, I think he's got a little riverboat gambler in him. He wants to take a shot down the field. And I think the biggest strides that I've seen in his game, his ability to be able to process information, not always have to throw the ball deep down the field, and know and understand that sometimes the best throw is to check it down. So I think he continues to mature. He's got a really bright future.
You have a pretty deep offensive line group right now. Does that help your quarterbacks when your third guy can go out there with a pretty strong group of offensive linemen playing in front of him? Yeah,
so, been here a little bit now and going on to my fourth year, and I'll say this, that when I look at that offensive line room and the guys that Coach Wade and our staff have recruited, it's as good as I've been around here. And so you start to get excited. I still think there's, the understanding that we're still going through camp, right? And we want to challenge these guys. But the ability to be able to have more depth than we've ever had at that position allows us to continue to rep more quarterbacks in a more real environment, right? And so the ability for our quarterbacks to continue to develop, even the younger guys, has been really good for us.
Buster talked in the spring and then a few weeks ago about the vertical passing game and how much of a priority that is in this offense this year. I know it's dictated a lot last year by Haynes' health with his shoulder and everything, but how important is that this year in this offense? Kind of how far along are you seeing the quarterbacks come in that area?
Yeah, I think, you look at college football, and I think the one thing we all say is we want to be explosive, and that's one way to be explosive is to put the ball down the field. When you have quarterbacks that you trust, Buster can call those plays and know and understand if it's not there that they'll check it down. There's still opportunities for explosives. I think this day and age with the players that we have, not only at the quarterback position but all the guys that are surrounding them, at least gives us an opportunity to push the ball down the field. And with a veteran quarterback, some guys on the perimeter that can go get it, I do think that will be a big part of our offense.
The center position, you have three fairly new guys there.
Yeah.
Weston's gone. How has the chemistry been with the quarterbacks and the centers?
Yeah, you look at that position, I always say that a football team is built right down the middle, right? You're talking about the center, you're talking about the quarterback, you're talking about the safety that controls the defensive side of the ball. So when you start looking at how important it was when we had a veteran center last year in Weston, right? A guy that played a lot of football, and now you're breaking in some new guys, right? Obviously Harrison has played some ball for us, but you got a guy in Tana and a young guy, Jimmy, that just got here. So you talk about young guys that are really talented and continue to get reps and every day get a little bit better. I feel very good about our quarterbacks getting under center or in the gun behind any three of those guys.
Anything else for Coach? Okay.
All right. Thanks.